Hey guys, and welcome to CMJ Live. It is Friday. I don't know about you, but thank God it's Friday. It's been a long, hectic week. I know I've been talking to a lot of parents. First week of school, and I'm getting parents calling me saying, I don't know how I can do this. It's my first time my child's there. One child didn't even want to go into school, Chelsea. She hanged onto the mom's leg for about 20 minutes. I'm like, it gets easier. Trust me, it gets easier. But listen, we're going to have a great show today. I got my special guest. How you doing, my friend?
Hey, how are you?
Please introduce yourself.
My name is Martin Medeiros. I'm the regional councillor for Wards 3 and 4 for the city of Brampton, and born and raised in Brampton.
See, you already took one of my questions away. You already took a question away because I ask every guest when they come in here. You get bonus points if you're a Bramptonian.
Oh, excellent.
All right, so let's just get it right then there.
Yeah. Born at Peel Memorial, and pretty much grew up, if anyone knows Brampton, close to Main and Vaughan area.
Okay.
And then after second part of my life was by Shoppers World, and I was the first graduating class at St. Augustine High School, if anyone knows where that is.
Oh my goodness, you're all right. You got me beat. I think you got me beat because you're even born in Brampton. So I was like, I don't know about that part, but here we go. So let's break it down. What schools did you go to? Kindergarten, grade school, all the way up.
Sure. Elementary, I went to Our Lady of Fatima.
Okay.
And that was over there by the Main Vaughan area, and then after I moved over to go to high school, 1 year at Cardinal Leger, and then because I guess when my parents moved, they made me leave Leger, and I ended up going to St. Augustine. But the funny story is, I tried 3 years to try to get back to Cardinal Leger because that's where all my friends were.
Yeah, I know that one.
They had a better soccer team, so I wanted to go back there. But yeah, so it was bizarre this year. I went to my first, I guess, high school graduation, and I went to St. Augustine.
Yeah.
And it was interesting seeing those kids and everything, and I saw actually some of the parents who were in school with me.
Yeah.
So it really starts aging you, but yeah, it was pretty.
It's weird because I had my I went to my class reunion, grade 8 class reunion. Saw a bunch of my friends as well, and it changes you a little bit.
Oh,
it changes you because you're like, hey, you're all glad to see each other, and then they pull out the wallets and it's like,
no,
4 kids, you're married, everything.
That's right. I start tucking in the stomach a little bit more, and it's like you just. But yeah, it's really fascinating. And after I went to York University, and then from there I go to a school called the College of Europe in Bruges in Belgium.
Okay.
And worked there some years, and after moved back, and then I started working at the Ontario Provincial Government. I was a bureaucrat there, worked at several different ministries, and then in 2014 I decided to run, and it's interesting because when I was a kid I was on the Mayor's Youth Council. Under former Mayor was Peter Robertson at the time. So I was somewhat involved, and but it was just really talk about life coming full circle. When I get elected, and here we are, and that's where I've been today.
So then how Brampton has changed.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, I'm gonna throw some old school buildings.
Sure,
okay,
no
I'm gonna throw I'm talking about Byway.
Yes, right off of McMurtry.
Okay, there you go. That's number one.
Right.
I'm talking about Jumbo Video.
Yes, at Shoppers World. That's where I used to go to, yeah.
Okay.
Free popcorn.
See? He knows. Every Bramptonian knows. You go there, your parents used to take you as a treat. You go there, you get your popcorn,
That's
right?
That's right.
So from then to now, everybody comes to you. They know you're the counselor. They know all the problems come to you. Like, that's how we feel, right? So how do you see it change from, because now you're a true Bramptonian, and which I love about that, because as a counselor, you know where we've gone. You know where Blockbuster used to be and new buildings coming up, and you know the schooling and everything. I went to Agnes Taylor, Sir John A., then Central Peel, then Sheridan, then York University.
Excellent.
So Brampton is my home.
Excellent.
I'm never gonna call Brampton downtown. It's always Four Corners to me. I can't I can't get that new name when they tell me it's Four Corners.
Yeah, when I was a kid, I remember my dad, he worked at Simmons Mattress, both my parents, which was over there on Chincoosy and Steeles, and one of my fondest memories was Thursdays was the paycheck day. So we'd go to Scotiabank, drop our check, and then we'd go buy the KFC.
That's right. That's right there.
Pick up the KFC, and it would be like an excitement. If we got the bucket, it'd be, wow, we got a bucket. It was like good days.
So then tell us, how's it changed? And how do you see it changing differently?
I think the first thing, obviously, is population, and really, the changing faces, the diversity, which we're blessed with here at the city of Brampton. When I, being born here and raised, and you probably noticed yourself, it was more of the diversity wasn't as diverse, and it was more you'd find your European sort of immigrant community, Caribbean, and then when you see what Brampton is today, where we have over 87 languages represented here in Brampton, and one of the honors I really have is when I get invited to, especially a lot of different community events from different ethno-cultural groups, is the way that Bramptonians come together. It's the way that we celebrate. There's a lot of talk in the media and what's happening in other borders and so on about all this divisiveness that exists in society, and we talk about some of the immigration issues we have in our own borders. But I sometimes tell politicians that I meet from outside of Brampton that outside of the GTA, I would say more that you want to know what the Canadian face is now. You come to Brampton.
Come to Brampton, that's right.
And you see that beauty everywhere, everywhere I go, and different languages, different cultures, different foods, and so on. That's the exciting part. Another part that sometimes we often don't talk about is the other part of diversity. You start seeing people who have with disabilities being more integrated in our society, and you see people from different sexual orientation as well. We celebrate, we do a flag raising at City Hall. So that aspect as well, Brampton's really has opened up, really embraced the diversity, and we really see it as one of our competitive advantages, and more so, and I know we'll be getting into other debates about the university and so on, other stuff. But certainly that is something that I'm really proud of, is how Brampton has really grown in just the sheer number. So as of today, if I was to tell you that we get 28 people every day choose Brampton to live. So that's. What
do you mean 28 people?
28 people come. So we have right now approximately 600,000 from the last census, 603, 604. And those numbers are growing because that was from 2000 in the last census that we did, 2016, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And essentially from our numbers, if you were to break that down, we receive 28 new people that choose Brampton to live every day. So we're the second fastest growing city in Canada.
Yeah.
And that certainly leads to challenges, especially when you're a decision maker and you're trying to build a city and you're trying to do city building. So when often folks come to me and they say, and understandably, because I do think that there's our fiscal management, we do have opportunities there to really be a little bit more sound and be a little bit more steady with the way that we spend taxpayers' money. But it's really hard when we receive people every day, and that increases the pressure on our services, that increases the pressures on, and just little things such as, our roads, public transit, recreation, because people come in and they want access to those services. So that means that we're always under pressure to provide more service, always with that budget that we have, and we don't have the same sort of budget instruments that other municipalities have, such as City of Toronto. They have the City of Toronto Act. We certainly can only go to property tax, or we go to service fees. So recreation center, what you pay, or the property taxes. So that becomes a sort of the juggling act.
The juggling back and forth.
How do we build our communities, and how do we try to maintain some form of fiscal management, and the fact that we're really, really under pressure because of our growth. Other municipalities, many don't face the type of growth, but many would die to have the diversity that we have. When you talk about, we have one of the youngest and most educated populations in Canada. So, and that's something that we're really proud of. And so those are, I guess, some of the context in terms of how the city of Brampton has really changed.
Yeah, because I mean, just listening to you, and I'm throwing back when I first started school. So when I first started school, the diversity wasn't there. But then when I went to high school, it's like everything was there. I couldn't believe it. You can go to every corner, and lunchtime you're asking each other, okay, what do you feel like today? Because you could get, some prosciutto, you can get some veal, you can get some pizza, you can get some roti, you can get you can get everything. And
that's right.
Growing up, it's like the diversity is what makes us so great. Right? I'm a big fan of that because I'm the chair for Caribram for the Caribbean Pavilion.
Excellent.
So I've seen when it was at Turner Fenton.
That's right.
So I've seen it grow and how many pavilions is there. But what do you see that is our biggest I want to say not challenge, because I don't see anything as a challenge. We work together. But what do you see as the biggest whoopah that people want to come to Brampton?
In terms of what attracts them to Brampton?
Yeah, what is it? Like, because you're telling me it's 28 people, which I never knew. That is just crazy. 28 every day. Yeah. Somebody says they pick Brampton.
It's a proximity to the airport is one. Second is in terms of affordability. So if you look in the GTA, we're still one of the most affordable communities.
Okay.
We're certainly trying to diversify and increase our commercial base. What does that mean essentially? We want people to be able to work in Brampton, more jobs in Brampton.
Okay.
Because that's something when I came onto council that we were, in comparison with the other communities, our tax rate, so you have a ratio of residents paying way more than what the business community is, because there's not enough jobs.
Right.
So then there's those other impacts. So if someone has to drive outside of Brampton to go work, so then you're increasing pollution, you're increasing car traffic, when people get all frustrated with the commute and so on. So those are sort of those indirect impacts that people sometimes don't think about. So what we've tried to do as a council, and under the leadership of our mayor, she's been very aggressive promoting business opportunities at the city of Brampton, traveling abroad, and really being very aggressive. And as a council, we've really identified that as a priority in terms of we have to attract more jobs, not only for the fact that we improve people's quality of life, but certainly we help reduce our tax burden on the taxpayer.
Okay.
So getting back to your question, why do people want to come to Brampton? So I think it becomes cyclical. When you get a new group that comes in, certainly, so for example, if we look at the South Asian population, they start coming in the 80s, more so in early 90s.
Yeah.
Obviously, through family reunification, that becomes sort of the pulling point. You want to go where your community is.
Yes.
And that's no different than any other community groups that came earlier.
Right.
And also affordability of housing. And then after our transportation, that saying that all roads lead through Brampton.
Right.
So if I was, especially around, and why we attract a lot of warehousing or industry around trucking and industry around transportation, it's just because our location. We're close to all the major highways across Canada. We're close to the airport.
Right.
And we get approximately, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, through the region of Peel, 40% of all commercial trucking transportation comes through the city of Brampton and comes through Peel region.
Right.
So that's a lot of use. That's a lot of trucking. That's a lot of so we're quite centrally located geographically.
Right.
And then after, I'd like to say there's other parts I think that welcomes people. They know that we're a diverse city. They know that they can come here, feel welcome,
feel comfortable.
That's right. They have still affordable housing. They can come and express and get close to their community. And after, Bramptonians are welcoming. You can come to Brampton, and whenever I have people from different countries and so on, they see how welcoming we are in Brampton. It's a very norm for us to interact with people from different countries and so on. So I think that those are one of those really strong characteristics. That it's a pulling factor that make folks want to come to Brampton. And I tend to say that sometimes it's really our location, but it's really about our people.
Yeah.
And you see that in the arts, you see that in sports, you see the type of what we've done abroad now in music and cinema, really raising Brampton's name. And so it's just fantastic where we are. We're almost at that tipping point where we've turned that corner, and I'm very proud to be part of a council that really is moving Brampton forward, and with a lot of excitement, a lot of new opportunities, and Brampton's changing all the time. So
okay, when we get back, we're gonna take a quick break. People always ask the councillors and this and this. Question is, I'm gonna ask you is, when we get back, is how can we as citizens help council? Because what I realize as I'm looking at other things, a lot of times that we can help our own destiny if we work with you, but we probably don't know how.
Sure.
So when I get back, we'll take a quick break. I want to find out how we, as members of Brampton, can help the city to get more funding, more people, and things. We'll be right back.
Discover the incredible India.
Hey guys, and welcome back to CMJ Live. I got my special guest. Please reintroduce yourself.
Martin Medeiros, Regional Councillor for Wards 3 and 4, City of Brampton.
Okay, and here's a question, because we got viewers from all around. When they say Wards 3 and 4, which area is that?
Essentially, my area goes south of Queen to the 407.
Okay.
And west of Dixie to east of Mississauga Road.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, so it's a pretty large area. And just to give you a little bit of background in why we have such large wards, right now at the region, for example, Mississauga, every councillor is a city councillor plus a regional councillor. Mm-hmm. So each councillor has a ward. Here at the City of Brampton, we only have 7 representatives from a council of 11 that have, I would say, a place at or have a seat at the region appeal. So there's city councillors such as myself, and also regional councillors. So we've been working with our colleagues at Region Appeal and working with the provincial government, because Brampton should have equal to Mississauga in terms of voice, because our population has grown considerably.
Right.
So we have taken a decision as a council to really let the province know that we want fair representation. Mm-hmm. So what that would entail is that each city councillor at the City of Brampton would also be a regional councillor like Mississauga. So then after, we wouldn't have these large wards. So right now in my wards, there's 2 councillors. Mm-hmm. So I'm the regional councillor, so I'm responsible for city and regional. Yeah. Then I have a partner city councillor who also he's also a councillor as well, and he does with city issues as well.
Okay.
So that becomes a little bit of the challenge also as well, because some people do get confused. Yeah. You know, people come to me and sometimes they say, "Okay, I know this is with the city and you're a regional councillor," and I'm like, "No, I do both."
Right,
you know,
right,
so.
Right.
That becomes confusing, but more so in terms of the issues at the Region Appeal. So we're talking about our garbage, our water, social services.
Okay.
Our council is very determined, and we're determined to change that, and we feel that we should have equal representation and have the same voice as Mississauga, because we are growing, and all the projections say in 2041 we're going to pass Mississauga in population.
Right.
So because they're pretty much grown out.
That's what my big thing is. My mandate was last year and this year. I'm like, I'm a Bramptonian, but when you look at like Google Maps, when you look at top things to do and places to go, we're not on the map. Like they don't consider us as a place to be. But I'm like, we got some most beautiful places, fun times. You should come down here. We got Cellar Brampton was phenomenal this year.
Yeah, it was spectacular.
You know what I mean? You have different cultures, music, entertainment, and food. And then you have Rose Theater, one of the nicest theaters around. But the difference is, hey, free parking. Yeah. You're not paying these prices when you go downtown. Yeah. Come down to Brampton. We have these top restaurants coming in. Yep. We just have Wendell Clark just came in. We have all these other ones. So J Reds is on the corner. Fine dining.
I think you should be a spokesperson for the City of Brampton. Yeah, well done. I do think that we have a great place, but I do think that we have areas to improve. And like any other municipality, and this is really, if you look sometimes towards what's happening in Mississauga, and you see all that growth, all that, especially around that Square One, that modernization that's happening. Mm-hmm. Certainly, in the City of Brampton, I'd like to see our city flourish within our sort of reality and really play up what we have to offer as a city. Right. But that just entails that, this council moving forward, I just really think that we're right now at the cusp of really, some great things. Mm-hmm. We get University of Ryerson was announced, and hopefully next week we have a final council meeting, which we made a decision, a committee, which essentially said that we'll be investing $50 million over 10 years in Ryerson University, coupled with that $100 million investment in a city asset in terms of a real, interesting library with which is going to be very modern to really support innovation and technology and really align itself with Ryerson, coupled with the fact that we're right now on the middle, and sometimes sometimes people don't understand, but I really want to emphasize this point. If you look at what they call the high-tech corridor. So if you know what a Silicon Valley is, Silicon Valley is basically a bunch of towns where all the high-tech jobs are. So they call it the Silicon Valley.
Right.
Essentially, Toronto to Kitchener has been identified as a high-tech line, high technological corridor, and Brampton's exactly on the middle.
Right.
So that brings itself a lot of opportunity. It allows itself as well, coupled with University of Ryerson, coupled with Sheridan College, coupled with our strategy around the hospital. So we've identified some real, what we call game changers, some opportunities to really modernize our city, attract jobs, attract investment. With modernizing a city, there's other aspects. We bought, for example, our planning. So back in the day, and this is one of these unfortunate things that I find here in the city, is that sometimes our planning is not, we don't look at it holistically. We don't look at it as how do we build this city?
Long-term
exactly.
kind of thing, yeah.
We had a lot of MASH developments.
Yes.
And the developments, and you can't blame anyone. At the time, people are looking for affordable housing. Developers have an opportunity to develop housing, and usually with sound principles and guidelines, you try to build communities, but there wasn't that vision. So with our new CEO that we brought in to really restructure our internally, but also build our city. How do we get into city building? So we brought someone very important from Vancouver who will be leading and providing that planning vision and trying to modernize our city. Make it, even our downtown or our Four Corners, which you talked about. How do we make it an urban setting? And to urbanize it, we're looking at a project which is essentially a street escapement. The Region Appeal has to go in and fix the pipes. Our pipes are outdated, so they have to rip the roads. The city of Brampton identified that as an opportunity. Since there's already going to be construction there,
let's change it
Let's piggyback on that construction, and let's try to beautify and modernize our downtown. So we're talking about modern fixtures. We're talking about extending the sidewalks, removing some parking. Because we've identified there is parking all around. So, for example, parking garages, but they're not in good state. The signage isn't great. So those are little things that we're going to work on,
up them a little bit,
which are going to have a very important impact, and then it's really going to be more welcoming. So the idea is, if you've been to Port Credit and you see those cafes out there and so on, we have a great downtown. Naturally, Four Corners.
It's already
there.
So
now, now we're going to improve on that. In the last couple of years, I've never seen our downtown more busy or busier than it's been.
I'll tell you right now, we have friends from Bolton and outside. Certain days they're calling us to come meet them at Four Corners because you have movie night.
That's right.
That's a family thing. It's a family night.
We have
where
activities going on, there, concerts.
Watch the TV.
Talking about our diversity, we've had more diversity events. We had a huge Portuguese event. We had a huge Spanish event. We had a huge Hindu event. We're bringing more events downtown to reflect really our diversity, and that's you've really seen that impact. Are we there? I think we still have some improvement.
Yeah, we do.
But, like anything, once the ball rolls, and right now we're at a place where we're at a cusp of something really, really great that the city of Brampton, we're moving ahead. And this is really about what I talk about is we have something great already, and now how are we going to improve? And I think this is where we want to improve. And you just see the trends. What's happening in Brampton is no different from what's happening in other areas. People are looking for smaller spaces. So, for example, when we look at our downtown, we have to intensify. So by intensifying, bringing more people in, that helps support more of the businesses. More foot traffic. But with the more foot traffic, you want to ensure that it's pedestrian friendly. And then you start promoting other aspects like active transportation, so cycling and having more trails. So those are some of the sort of game changes we've identified. And I think this really, if you were to talk about the municipality that has a bright future, a municipality that really is moving forward confidently under strong leadership, I think the city of Brampton is tops.
So then here's the question.
Yeah.
Before break, we said, I'm going to ask you, how can we help?
Sure.
Okay, so, sometimes you guys give out the census or you guys give out the surveys. I see different things, because we got some great things. We got, Brampton Board of Trade.
Yeah.
Okay, so get involved there.
And they do an excellent job.
And do different stuff there, okay? We got different aspects when there's different events that we can, go to and support and launches and stuff like that. But besides that, how can we help council to let the government realize that Brampton is the place?
Well, I think more so. It's interesting. What I find as a politician is helpful, and this might sound controversial, but the first thing is by being engaged is keeping your councillor's feet to the fire. Okay. So what does that mean? Is that by you expressing your voice to me, by you telling me, Councillor Medeiros, I don't agree with this decision. Councillor Medeiros, I think we should do better on that. You keep councillors because then we hear your voice.
Right.
And often, sometimes, we make decisions within the bubble of within City Hall.
Right.
And I understand sometimes, people's lives are busy. People are trying to, put food on the table. They're trying to pay their bills. For them to, really be actively engaged in City Hall, that becomes an issue.
Right.
But certainly, one of the first things, so, how do you engage and how can residents help? By putting our feet to the fire doesn't mean necessarily just always criticizing or calling out what's negative.
Suggestions.
It's providing suggestions, good ideas.
Right.
I've had someone call me, and it was actually a couple days ago, and they said, how come we don't have a supermarket downtown Brampton? Especially if we have some condominium development, there's a lot of action. Yeah. But I sometimes want to go do my groceries. I live here downtown. Why don't we have one? And certainly I know we've tried to attract one, but those are the little things that wasn't top of mind. Now, it's one of the first things that I want to raise.
You got new buildings going up there. You got new things. Right.
This summer, I had an opportunity to go to a lot of parks. So the parks has been very fascinating for me because if you go to some of our city parks, they're not being used in that traditional way.
Yeah.
So our city parks really, especially from certain communities, they go there and it becomes really their community hub.
Yes.
And that speaks to the fact is, there was a trend years ago to build these big, shiny recreation facilities. So you get, your Gore Meadows and so on.
Yeah.
But essentially, what have we done? And this is where, looking back, sometimes we made a decision at the time, it looked like a right decision. But now what people are telling us, they want those small community hubs where they can walk to.
Yes.
They don't want to get in their car and
drive to the place.
And go there. Because also as policymakers, we've essentially promoted someone to get in their car.
Yeah.
We've added to congestion, we've added gas and so on. But if someone is in their neighborhood and they're not looking for these big fancy, they're looking a place to meet.
They want
they want to go to a room. They want to some little playground that they can take their children there to.
Yeah.
Give it more of that community feel, and those are something that we don't have today, where you identify in the parks. I love going to our parks and the community groups that use it. It's especially our seniors. Yeah. So they're keeping active, they're keeping outdoors, they're with their friends, they're conversing it. So what does that tell us as a city? That tells us that if our parks are being used in a different way, then we should adapt to this new reality and build infrastructure that allows to flourish.
Right.
Who am I to sort of say, I believe that we should be doing this, and that. And this is where the residents' voice is so important, because I'm here to serve. I'm here to tell me, Charles, my community, we require this.
Okay.
And I'm your spokesperson and certainly working for you, trying to get things done. And this is where getting back to how can residents help is first expressing yourselves, expressing the voice.
Right.
Second, what I find always helpful is come out to council, especially we have a budget process that's coming up in November.
Right.
Certainly, sometimes the numbers, and I do understand that when we have day meetings, people can't take time off work.
Right.
So we'll try to do more evening meetings, and I know our mayor has been very vocal about trying to have more nightly meetings to giving the opportunity for residents to come in and engage.
Right.
But especially at the budget process, is because councillors, when we hear from community groups, be it a sports team, be it an association, be it we talk about Carabrand, you talk about different organizations who they feel that things should change at the city. At budget time is where action happens. So and I'm not just saying once a year you should engage, certainly what I was telling you, but especially at budget. And as a resident,
that's the time to put
that's
your
it
voice
coming
down,
in, because that's when we make key decisions. That's where we put money, because what ends up happening, so parks are an example. For me to do something at the park, it's not simply, we don't go to a bank account, take up $50 million or a couple $1 million and we say, okay, let's go spend it today. Certainly
just
everything is planned.
Time and
that's right. Everything is planned, so there's a cycle. So our staff know exactly what projects they have for the next 1 or 2 years. We set out that policy, but if we identify and we say, well, you know what, that resident came in, and me as the councillor, he talked about the necessity for A, B, or C. And and there is that logic, and we tell staff, we work with staff to say, that resident raised some good points. Can you go look into it? And by them looking into it, and then we say at budget time, you know what, that merits an investment that merits the
Right.
city, and then we put money in the cycle. So that's essentially
It goes
how
back
that
and
works.
forth.
Yeah, and then staff can plan accordingly. But that certainly is a process. But also, one thing with residents is, or how do you help the voice? Things like petitions or your natural
well,
way.
we're going to talk about that because that's a lot of things that people want to know. We're going to take a quick break. But talking about Brampton, talking about thing, you got something special coming up.
Yes, I do.
So we're going to talk about it once we get back. So don't go nowhere. I'm going to tell you what the big surprise is right after this break.
Are you retiring smart? Make your home's equity work for you. With your home's equity and our 30 years of experience, the Retire Smart Properties team can help you achieve the quality of life you've always wanted. Our services are 360 degrees. We'll give you advice, take care of staging and selling, and help you find the perfect home and community to transition to. It's time to enjoy the retirement lifestyle you deserve. Visit our website today to learn how you can use your home to retire comfortably. The Retire Smart Properties team, powered by RE/MAX West.
Hey, we are back, and as you see, his job is never done. You know what I mean? They're always asking him questions. He's got this to do. He's got parks to take care of. We talked about that. But before we talk about more about the nitty-gritty of Brampton, you got something special that you're doing.
Yes.
So, I'm taking all your time about Brampton because, I'm a Bramptonian.
Listen, I love your excitement.
You got something going on for us. What's going on?
Certainly I do. So tomorrow, September 9th, basically Saturday tomorrow at 11 o'clock, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Gage Park, our downtown, or by our Four Corners, right beside City Hall.
That's right.
I'm having a community barbecue.
Okay.
Again, that's 11 to 2 at Gage Park, and it's an opportunity to not only come and meet me or speak to me. It's the opportunity to meet other residents and meet your community and see our community leaders. There'll be the mayor will be there, so there'll be an opportunity to see the mayor. There'll be other colleagues of mine, other council members. There'll be other members of levels of government and community leaders, and more so residents, our neighbors. And that's one thing that sometimes the risk when we talk about Brampton and it growing and with all the diversity is opportunities that come together. And besides my event, my event is happening, but there's action-packed Saturday. I mean, like, we got farmers market, our traditional farmers market, so people come in, pick up their vegetables. That's starting early in the morning. We got my event, come by, say hello, have a dog, do something.
Right.
And then we have what which this year is going to be the first time, the World Jazz Festival.
Okay,
it's coming to Brampton, so that's starting at 1:30. A jazz festival downtown Brampton. Come out and support that event. We have Kira Bram's World Food Festival.
Yes, we do.
So that's going to be great. You get to try foods from all different worlds, and that's going to be exciting. And then at 4 o'clock, we have a live art competition that's going out, that's going on. And at 4 o'clock will be the announcement of who won the live art competition. So this is all happening downtown, and it's going to be a great Saturday.
All right, so let's run this one more time, because then here's the funny thing. People always say, oh, what is there to do? What is there to do? There's so much to do. The funny thing is, this is what my thing to ask you personally is, like, how do we find all this out? Because sometimes I'll be driving, and I pass a place, and I go, what's that? You know what I mean? Or you go to another place and you go, wait, something else is happening. There's so much stuff in Brampton. Is there like a hotline we can go to, or a city councillor, or is there a city, place we can go to find out? We
usually on the City of Brampton's website, there's a calendar of events, and it identifies all the city-run events. But then after, there are private events or cultural events, other events that the city is not maybe directly organizing, but we're certainly supporting them in some capacity. And that becomes a little bit of a challenge. Social media is obvious. I tend to, if anyone wants to follow me, again, I'm on Twitter, Facebook, and on Instagram.
Chelsea, you hear this, right?
But usually I share all the events that are happening in Brampton. Right. I try to share, and many of my colleagues do as well. And I know the mayor's always promoting events in Brampton.
Okay.
So do follow us, and you'll find that out. And but usually at the City of Brampton, the website, and it's www.brampton.ca.
Okay, so 11 to 2. You have the barbecue going. You can be
Gage
slinging
Park,
hot dog, hamburger, all the good stuff. We also have World Jazz Festival happening.
Yeah.
Right? We also
That's at Garden Square.
That's Garden Square, right? We got the taste from Carabram's doing their tastes from around the world. Get different foods come on down.
And that's going to be on Main Street.
That's on
right
Main.
In front of Garden Square.
Right. And then we also have, of course, our traditional
the farmers market that's happening in the morning,
right?
So people can come in, get their veggies, come in and eat dog,
some food, right?
Go see some jazz, and after go eat some real good food at and later on the Carabram.
So the whole day is taken care of right
there. Right there, they can park their car, and I guess for some of those who are worried about traffic and so on, people forget you can park at City Hall. The parking lot at City Hall, it's free on Saturday.
Yeah, I know. So, that's what I'm telling everybody. I'm like, guys. Have you noticed how we have different things? Like I've gone to different meetings at Four Corners, different meetings all over, and then they're like, "Where do you park?" I'm like, "What do you mean, where do you park?"
Yeah,
I go, "You got side parking, you go underneath
but this is
there,
some of the
you got
issues.
Rose Theater, you got all these places."
When I was talking about that street escapement that we have to do in our downtown and taking away some of the on-surface parking, one of the issues I think we've identified is lack of signage. Yeah. And I think we have to have a little bit more better signage so people do know that there's parking in the vicinity. They can leave their car and this way walk the downtown and and just
that's
really
the main
enjoy
thing.
everything.
You want them to walk.
Yeah, we want them to walk. We want them to visit our shops.
Exactly.
We have local business owners. I'm a member of the Brampton Improvement Association. That's the BIA. And the BIA, they do a fantastic job. A shout out to the BIA. They do a fantastic job promoting our local business owners. And you got some great places down there. I often, just from a foodie perspective, one of my favorites, and shout out to Num Nums. I got good friends over there at Num Nums, and I go there for their pizza cones. And But we have some great restaurants downtown and great shopping opportunities, and so people come out and spend the day and get to know what we have.
The funny thing is, I do love when in the summertime you have a nice summer. You just walk downtown and you see people sitting at the benches, walking with family, just crossing. You got barbershops, you got Blades down there. Big shouts out to Blade. I take my son there all the time. And then just seeing them. But then you think, oh, that's it. It's summer. We do an amazing Christmas festival,
yes,
right?
We do. Yes,
the Christmas festival is there. You have music,
we have our
you have
traditional
stages,
parade, and so on. And so there's going to be some changes this year coming up, and that hasn't been exactly decided. I know the BIA have full confidence that they're going to provide some interesting alternatives, but that becomes a little bit of why we think we have to improve our downtown, make it more welcoming, modernize it, and hopefully with some of the changes that's going to happen in the downtown, there'll be some more investment in different types of businesses who might want to come in that will attract more people.
Right.
And that's sort of what we're looking to do, because we're really, we're a city of 600,000 people. We're not that sleeping dormitory where folks sleep here then go play somewhere else. The mayor always talks about trying to get that cool factor in Brampton.
Right.
So whenever we can have things that are cool and really show what Brampton does, especially the youth, so that's one thing that you notice more in the downtown is the young people more involved. They're hanging around, the different Starbucks. There's organizations like Lab B, which is an innovation hub. You get some cool energy coming out of there.
They do a lot of spoken word at the art center on the corner there.
Exactly.
Yeah, not many people know you can rent that out. Have meetings in there.
That's right. Yeah, that's PAMA you're talking about.
Yep.
That's right. As a member of PAMA, I'm the regional council representation on PAMA. We just had an event yesterday, and some really interesting stuff on how we're going to also trying to attract more young people to Pama, because that's, you made an excellent point that people sometimes don't know. People will drive by and say, what a gorgeous building, but they'll have no idea what's in.
No.
So, for people watching, right in front of Gage Park, maybe after my barbecue, you can go across the street and go see an excellent art gallery that we have here in Peel.
Right, because I know one time I met the lovely lady there. She was new. She wanted to know different aspects. I was talking to her, and like during time they have like these art competitions. So you go in, you see which one you like, you write down on a ballot and put it in. Like, it's just fun stuff as you're walking by.
That's right. Well, that's what's happening tomorrow, the live art competition.
Right.
That's exactly it. And it's interesting that it's one of those events, and that it's just fantastic because the arts, our arts and culture in the city of Brampton, that's something that I think that council can improve on. And we've developed a strategy. We'll be working with a consultant to provide, some recommendations. How do we make it thrive? And, if there's an area of improvement that I personally feel I'd like to dedicate some of my work to is how do we build the arts and culture community and support them adequately. Right. You see in different communities, arts and culture thrive. The city thrives because that becomes an economic engine as well. Right. But more so, that becomes a poster card
to bring other people
in. So that's an area that I'd like to provide some more dedication.
And then, I'm sorry to cut you, but I want to tell everybody, don't delete the email. Because I know, correct me if I'm wrong, a week ago, City of Brampton sent out an email about culture and arts.
Yes.
And it was a survey, and, it's just asking different questions on the survey.
That's right.
It took me 10 minutes.
Good.
But at least that goes back to you guys to let you guys know what we're really looking for.
That's excellent.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Is it more space? Is it rental space? Is it more culture?
Exactly.
And then you guys are giving us the opportunity. Let's use it.
But that's an important point. We really try to use different methods in engaging with our residents. And I know the city, with some of the changes that we've made, and we've identified that as a real need to ensure how do we identify opportunities to engage with the public. We have our budget process coming, and that's going to be partial, is how do we ensure that people's voices are being heard. And that becomes sometimes of a challenge, and that's why we try our best. But, if people have good suggestions, do let us know. But tomorrow my barbecue is an opportunity to come and express yourself. And,
so one more time.
Yes.
Tomorrow, 11 a.m. to 2 I want to make sure that everybody hears me, because I don't want you to see me on my Instagram and Chelsea and I both have a hamburger and we're drinking, and then everybody's like, oh, what barbecue we were at, and you guys weren't there. So Chelsea, we'll be taking pictures of us eating some good food, and that's from tomorrow, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m.
That's right.
You're doing the barbecue, but also we have the Jazz Festival.
That's right.
We have Farmers Market, and then we have the Taste of Caribram. There's all this different food.
And we have the live art competition as well.
Right.
So
no one could. And then hold on. So this is the main thing I always tell everybody. How much is it?
All free.
Thank you. Say it one more time.
It's all free.
One more time. And it's free, Bramptonians. Toronto, if you're watching, Mississauga, come on down and enjoy. Because the funny thing is, everyone's like, oh, we don't Toronto against Brampton, Mississauga. No. We want them to see Brampton. Come spend your money. There's some shops here.
I tell
you, do your thing.
I get so tired, and this is one of my pet peeves. If I'm, sometimes I have meetings out in outside of Brampton,
right?
And sometimes if I attend events or so on, and then I'll be at a restaurant or something, and I'll see people I know from Brampton who are playing outside of the Brampton, and that sometimes like gets to me, because I'm like, I even feel guilty now eating outside of Brampton, because I know if we're not supporting our businesses, we're not. We got some great things going, so and that goes speaking to that cool factor. We want people to be able to work, live, and play all here in Brampton, right?
But that comes to us too. We always say, oh, there's nothing to do. You know something? The other day I realized that there is so much cool stuff here that I didn't even know. And I'm pretty bad. I'm a Bramptonian, and every week I'm learning about different locations.
I'm discovering it every day myself. And I tell you, something I've done, especially this summer, which is not so related to what we're talking about, but I've been doing a lot of cycling, a lot of biking, especially with my son. And as a member of the cycling committee, I participate in some of their cycling around the city.
Okay.
And I've really rediscovered the trails that we have here. I rediscovered some of the scenery. Like, nothing better than getting to know a city than get your bike and just go for a ride in the community.
And, this year I found out that Powerade, everybody knows Powerade, okay? They know the front. But did you know that Powerade has this whole back end that I didn't even know about.
Yeah.
Behind Powerade, there's this whole cricket field.
Yeah.
They have these new soccer areas. They put new outside rinks. There's so much more sports. There's new baseball diamonds that are coming up. There's places for everybody. It's not just back in the days we thought, after you pass a certain age in Brampton, there wasn't stuff for us.
Sure.
There is baseball for us, softball, basketball. So we can't complain. At our age, we're not fit as we used to be. Because there is sports out there for us. There is a lot of new places to get out during the summer and picnic and a lot of places.
And it's interesting you talk about sports, and we just developed a Parks and Rec master plan.
Okay.
And we've identified, for example, we kept hearing, because we know that we're having all these amazing athletes go there in different sports like basketball, soccer, all different hockey, women's, men. There's all these, great athletes, but unfortunately they reach a certain age. And one of our sports groups have told us is that they have to leave Brampton to go to competitive leagues.
Yeah.
So they have to go to the Toronto Hockey League. They have to go play soccer outside.
Yep.
Basketball, they have to, do their thing somewhere else. So we've identified that as a council as a major priority. And essentially what we're looking to do is create these opportunities for what we call sports excellence.
Right.
So the idea is we want that athlete to be able to stay here in Brampton, develop his career, but also have the type of infrastructure where we can bring in tournaments and attract people who want to specialize.
And still be recognized.
That's it. If we want people to come to Brampton to train, we want them to come and do things. So, an interesting news, just as an aside, is Brampton Youth Soccer was just designated by the Ontario Soccer Association as an official designation. And what that entails is that we become a leader in a soccer community. So that means that the Brampton Youth Soccer, and they've already started having talks with the city, have to build that infrastructure.
Yeah, because
they have to have those conditions so we get high-performing athletes.
Well, we just finished having Canada versus Jamaica.
Yeah.
Right? And then on the team, there's 2 people from Brampton.
That's right.
You know what I mean? And this is the part. We have last year, Tristan Thompson. We have all these people.
Amazing. Women's soccer. It's amazing what you hear. The mayor sometimes jokes that there's something in our water.
Yeah.
That's what she believes. But
because I don't know about you, I get upset when the commentator would say, and from Toronto, our very own Toronto. No, not Toronto. Say Brampton, okay? He didn't come from Toronto. He didn't live in Toronto. He came from Brampton.
That's right.
Every time they come from Brampton, they never say Brampton. They say Toronto.
Yeah. No, that's right.
I'm telling you guys, listen, I'm pointing right at you. All sportscasters, say he came from Brampton, okay? Say when they came from Brampton, he came from Brampton, all right? We're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back.
Discover the incredible India.
Think you have what it takes to bring value to the community? The TCN TV network is expanding and now accepting TV show proposals. Here's an opportunity to build celebrity status and become part of an elite group of community advocates that are focused on building, strengthening, and empowering our community in a positive way. Are you interested in embarking on a new adventure? TCN TV is searching for people interested in opportunities to change the conversation and pave an unforgettable legacy. If you feel you have something of value to offer, send a written show proposal to shows@mytcntv.com.
Hey guys, all right, we could sit here and talk about Brampton, how great Brampton is, how better Brampton is. I love everywhere else too, but Brampton is the spot, okay? But we got about 5 minutes left. Let's just shoot out stuff that people don't know.
Sure. Well, I think the university was the big thing on the agenda.
Woohoo! Yeah.
So that's going to be exciting. That's really going to be a game changer. Just in some of the internal stuff where you have budget exercises that are coming up. LRT, so if people have been following the LRT,
that's right.
Some of that construction is going to start happening. So I know right now it stops at Steeles. So that area from 407 coming down north to Steeles, they're going to start seeing more of a presence there. So it's going to be some preparation for the LRT going on there. So that's also exciting. We've done some studies that we've issued. Queen Street Corridor. Queen Street Corridor, essentially, we've identified as one of our economic nodes, economic corridors, and coupled with the fact that there's a hospital, we have Peel Memorial, our new hospital there.
Correct. That's
so we really want to develop that. We want to we've recognized that as an economic driver, and we really want to take advantage from an economic perspective. Also, just even yesterday, I was briefed on active transportation. So people often ask me, active transportation strategy. That's essentially is about building a network so people either walk or take their bikes. We want people to be healthier. People may not know that in the city of Brampton, unfortunately, we have one of the highest levels of diabetes in Canada. And so that essentially is we want to build healthy communities. So what we've done is we've had directed the city of Brampton and Region of Peel to start working together. There's actually a committee on how we can sort of work together.
More exercise, more movement.
Build more of that network. We want that connectivity. We want people, out of their cars, on their bikes. I'm trying to follow that philosophy a little bit more. It helps me with a little bit with my weight too. So that becomes a challenge.
That just shows you how great. That just shows you how great the food here in Brampton is. Okay, look at all that food, all that great food here in Brampton.
But certainly, as a city, we've identified 6 game changers, and we're starting studies on river walk. So sometimes we use that as a coin phrase, but what that is basically flood mitigation. That's looking at our downtown, and sometimes we can't develop it as much because it's basically flood waters. It's floodplains. So we're trying to prepare some studies and work with other levels of government to see if we can do a flood mitigation there and build some basically parkland on top of it. So those are a lot of areas where we're looking and we're focused, and essentially as the taxpayers' money, that's something that we continuous, and from day one, that's something that I've really paid attention to, and something very passionate to. It's I've noticed from people when I interact our residents is that they understand they pay their taxes, but they want to make sure that it's being wisely spent, that it's not being wasted on stupid things. It's not going out the door, that we're spending the money on where we need it as a municipality, and be smart with it, like your household does. So that's what we're doing.
All right, so just let you know, tomorrow, September the 9th. So I don't want you watching this video next week thinking, I'm coming down again, because you're going to miss the barbecue. I'm telling you that right now, okay? Tomorrow from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m., hot dogs, hamburger, barbecue, come out. And if you have any of the questions that I missed that you wanted to ask, he will be there, all right? This is an opportunity to come talk to all your counselors and see everybody. Also, we have World Jazz Fest, and I keep saying that one because that's going to be a great evening. If you love music, come out. Guys, fellas, you always wanted to know what to do with your wives for date night? I'm helping you out. Jazz Fest in Brampton, all right there. And then we have food. Hold on, that's a full date now.
Wow, I
just realized that. Hold on, here it is. I'm helping you real quick, okay? So you wake up in the morning, you take her out, you go for a nice walk, farmer's market, do little fun things as husband and wife. After that, you can go to the jazz festival, right? Do some jazz and listen to some music. But also, she says, you never take me some cultural stuff. We have the arts. So you can go to the arts festival, choose, and then later on for dinner, we got Caribbean World Festival food, all in one.
That's right.
Everything is there.
And what I would tell people too, if you're going to be coming downtown, you're going to be spending the day there, maybe leave your car at home.
Yeah.
Try taking Brampton Transit. It's amazing. Walk if you're in walking distance. Come walk, or take your bikes, or a commute with others, and there's that opportunity.
Okay, we got 30 seconds left. You're on CMJ Live, and one thing we always do is called the shout out. So this is your opportunity to shout out all your family and friends. Anybody's watching, this is your opportunity.
Wow, that's well, I think I'll call out, I know I have some colleagues at work watching. My assistant Priya, good friend Gina is out there. I know we got some of my residents out there watching as well, and certainly I think all the residents of Wards 3 and 4, it's an honor. Every day I love my job. I love serving, and please let me know if there's areas of improvement and what I should be doing better.
Don't forget about the family. Don't forget about the family.
My family, yes. I know they shouldn't be watching because they should be in school. But my son Justin, my daughter Caitlin, and I know my dad right now, he's at Shoppers World and hanging out with the seniors, and my mom's at home doing something. So hello to everybody.
There you go. It's been a pleasure, my friend.
Thank you very much.
Guys, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you guys tomorrow because I know Chelsea and I will be there eating hamburgers, having fun with the family. It's Brampton. Have a great weekend, everybody. We'll see you next time.